Leaders have the ability to impact on a daily basis. I'm going to leave you with this story. I read it some time ago. There's a 15-year-old, and he was walking into a park in a city. And the ordinance said you can't be in a park after 11 o'clock. As a police officer rode by and he saw that young man going into the park, man, he worked evening shift. I'm ready to get to the precinct, do my paperwork, get out. About a mile or so down the road, just something about the young man. They had made eye contact. He turned around, he went back. The gates to the park was locked. He got out of his car. He walked down, he found the young man in a swing. He told the young man, he said, "Hey, you can't be in this park." He said, "Why, sir? I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here." The officer said, "Hey, you just can't be in the park after 11 o'clock. But the officer could feel that something was wrong, was bothering this young man. So he said, "Son, what's wrong?" The young man went on to tell him that his father didn't love him, that he played football that night. It was a Friday night, and his father never comes to his game. He made a great catch, and I'm looking up in the stands, and I see everybody else's father, and I don't ever see mine. So the officer talked to him and said, "Well, what was your father doing?" "Well, he's working. He's always working." The father had lost his job at a factory. He's working 2 jobs. And plus, the young man's mother had left him and his father. And so the officer looked at the young man and said, "How selfish a little boy are you?" And he said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Your father's working 2 jobs to give you the life that he wants you to have. He lost his job at the factory, now he's having to work 2 jobs. You think he's sad too because your mom left?" "Well, yes, sir." "Well, have you ever talked to him about that?" "No, sir." He tells him, he says, "Go back and you talk to your father and you tell him what you told me tonight, that it hurts you, breaks your heart not to ever see him in those stands. But I also want you to ask him how he's feeling." About 3 months later, that officer gets a call from this young man. At first, the officer does not remember who he is. And then it clicks. "Oh, yeah, this is the young man I saw at the park and talked to him that night." The young man said, "Hey, I did what you said. I went and talked to my dad. We're doing great. But more than that, I want you to know that you saved my life, and I want you to thank you for that." He said, "What do you mean I saved your life?" He said, "You didn't know this, but I had taken my dad's pistol, and I was going to that park because that park is where my mom and dad used to take me. And they used to push me in that swing. And some of my happiest memories are from that park. But I was going there that night to kill myself. And when I saw you pull up in that patrol car, I had the pistol in my hand. I put it in my waistband. I put the shirt down over it. You didn't pat me down. You didn't find it. But I was going to kill myself. And if I hadn't talked to you, I would have." And what I want you to think as leaders is this. Everybody in here, if I ask you how many people you've impacted in your life as a leader, somebody, most everybody, probably 100% will raise their hand and say, "Hey, I got an example how I've impacted someone's life." But I want you to remember this. How many people have you impacted and you don't even know you've impacted? Because what you said, what you did, how you carried yourself, how you led, I will submit to you that it's many, 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 many more. As a leader, you've got something that a lot of people don't ever have, the ability to make a difference.